Hey, I'm Atiba de Souza, and I am a results leader.
You're listening to ResultsLeader.fm. Being a thought leader is easy. Getting results is hard. This show is for the results leader who lives and dies by their results. Here is your host and Chief Results Leader, Jonathan Rivera.
Yes, y'all. It is time once again for another ResultsLeader.fm. Welcome back to another episode. This is the only show on the internet dedicated to the consultants and coaches who are getting results for their clients. Welcome back. On today's show, we're going to talk about why people who don't take profit are not too bright. How to squeeze even a small profit from your business when you think you can't, and how a scarcity mindset is sabotaging your growth. Today's show is super interesting because we thought the conversation was going to go one way, and it went a complete different way. Today, I'm joined by Atiba de Souza, video content superman, international keynote speaker, and video SEO master. But what's funny is we didn't talk about any of that. We talked about building a profitable business. Let's jump in. Atiba, welcome to the show. Are you ready to rock this thing?
I'm ready to rock this thing. Let's rock it.
All right. So let's give our listeners a quick win. What book have you given most as a gift?
The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber.
Michael Gerber, one of my favorites. In fact, that reminds me, I need to read that again and get into the details of working on my business instead of in my business. So let's go to story time, man. Tell us a story of how an apparent failure set you up for later success.
So I'm going to take you all the way back, JR, to 1996. Let's go all the way back. And in 1996, I was sitting in my mother's basement with two of my friends. We just started a business because, that's where all good businesses start. And we were a computer consulting firm. And so we were doing all sorts of stuff. And then the internet was super young at the time, as you know. And we were finding stuff on the internet that we wanted to remember later. And we were doing this thing called bookmarking. Well, bookmarking in 2023 sucks. In 1996, it was even worse. And we needed a solution. So we wrote this little product that now is called a search engine. And we didn't even realize what a search engine was back then. But we had all these websites. We needed to find stuff, and we needed to typing a term, and it would tell us which website to go to. And so we were sitting there with a search engine, and we thought we were hot stuff. And we started selling it to our clients. And I think we made like $2,000 to $2,500 off of it, selling it to our clients. And then one day my mother walked down into the basement when we were super excited about what we were doing. And she said, "Have you ever heard of this company, Excite?" We said, "No." So, well, they just sold for, and I don't remember the numbers, either $2 or $4 million. And we're like, "What is it?" And we looked it up, and lo and behold, it was a freaking search engine. And we're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, we made $2,500, they made $2 million plus. We felt like failures. But it set us up because we understood search. It set us up for the next 10 years of building major search engines for the government.
Wow. You guys were ahead of your time, huh?
A little bit.
What would you say is the most worthwhile investment that you've ever made?
My wife.
How so?
And a lot of times people look at it and, well, something that you bought, but relationship is an investment. And my wife has been solid for me for almost 30 years at this point of my life. She's somebody who understands. She's someone who knows. And more importantly, I am an idea person. She is a get it done person. And so without that relationship, I'd just be a guy running around with a lot of great ideas who never accomplished anything.
So do you guys work together in the business?
Yes and no. So I recently hired her again. So we've worked together in business forever. And over the last couple of years, we actually diverged, and she went off and did her own thing. I was doing mine and taking business in a different direction. And late last year, so about September of last year, I got to a place where I needed to hire someone with her skill set. And I said, look, I need to hire this person. I'd rather hire you than someone else. And so she said, fine, I'll come back. Well, let's go again.
Nice. I've been working with my wife. I call her Cupcake in this business since I can't even remember now. It had to have been, I don't know, 16 when she finally gave in, left her corporate job and went all in with me. And it's been one of the greatest investments we've ever made together. Just be aligned at all times. Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
You get it, and it's great because now we travel a lot. And so we get to go together a lot of places. It's great.
In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And it's 3 words. Okay. It's 3 words. And I want to share these 3 words because of how much they help me, but more because I believe you who are listening, you need these 3 words just as much as I did. And those 3 words are, I belong here.
Where do we belong?
That's the thing that you have to define. But how many times do you walk into a room and feel less than? How many times do you feel like you have imposter syndrome? Whether that's a room full of, like it's your client, it's a boardroom and you're walking into a meeting, whether that's a party that you're in, heck, sometimes even in your own house. So often we don't feel like we belong. So often we feel like everyone else around is greater than us. And saying those 3 words, and I say them all the time, walking into rooms to help myself remember, I belong here. It's, if I could for a moment, we're recording this right now, heading into Black History Month. And I had the opportunity to write a Black History Month post for LinkedIn today that's going to go out during Black History Month this year. And, the post talked about advancement and how society feels about advancement. But I gave some of my backstory. I gave being pulled over numerous times by cops who looked at my driver's license and said, do you really live in this neighborhood? And then letting me go without a citation, without a warning. They had no cause to pull me over. I didn't feel like I belonged. In another neighborhood, when I was younger, as a teenager, walking down the street, having white women stop, cross the road, let me pass, and then cross back over. I didn't feel like I belonged. So that's my story of how I got to needing to hear, I belong here. I don't know what your story is, but what I've realized is so many of us need that. Whatever the reason that you need that, it doesn't matter the reason that you need that. All that matters is that you realize that you actually do belong here.
What do you say to the people who don't ever think that, like they just feel like they belong everywhere they are? What would you say to those people?
You mean the narcissist? Is that what you mean, or something else?
However you want to take it. Like anybody who has not asked themselves, do I belong here?
I mean, if you haven't, then great for you and good for you. And if you have the confidence to walk in a room and truly feel in all circumstances like you belong and this is where you should be, and you can be your authentic self, and your authentic self is going to be accepted in that place, and then good for you. Good for you. There aren't that many of you out there. And so I want to talk to those who aren't like you. And there's nothing against you. I'm happy for you. I'm not telling you to change. I don't think you should change. This is not against you at all, but it is to help those who need to step up.
Man, I was so hoping that you'd go to the place where you talk about them not challenging themselves, not putting themselves in uncomfortable situations, not doing the things that make you feel like you don't belong. But
so that's a different type of belonging.
I get it, brother.
Well, hold on. So that's a different type. So we can't talk about that. That's a different type. And that's okay. That's that moment in time where you don't put yourself in a position to grow. And there's a difference. So the person who needs to hear, I belong here, feels inferior. They believe that they can be, but they feel inferior. Versus you putting yourself in an environment where you are always the greatest. That's a totally different reality. And yes, to your point, you need to challenge yourself because humans are designed to grow. If you're not growing, you're dying. And if you're putting yourself in an environment where you're always the smartest, where everyone always needs to look at you, where you're always the greatest, that doesn't cause you to grow, which means you, my friend, are dying.
What are some bad recommendations you hear in your area of expertise?
Oh my gosh, the list is long. So number one, we're a video content marketing agency. Okay. And I think the biggest thing that's bad, and you get this from business to business more than anything else, is like right now, everyone is saying we're heading into a recession. And so people will tighten their purse strings. And in tightening their purse strings, the first thing that they want to do is cut marketing or cut sales. Well, guess what? That is dumb. That is absolutely dumb. Oh, but we got to still be able to produce. Yeah, but when you run out of people to produce for, and you got all these people who can produce, what are you going to do then? Fire all of them because no one has sold anything? That's on one side. The other side of it is look around at the truly wealthy. And I'm not saying that you have to aspire to be like anybody, but I am saying you can learn a ton from them. And one of the things that you can learn from the truly wealthy is they make money when the economy is bad. And how do they do that? By spending more in marketing and sales.
So I hear you saying this is the time to invest, huh?
Absolutely. Hands down. And if you're not in a position, and let me be clear, I totally understand where you are. I totally understand where you are as well. And you're saying, oh, I can't invest right now. How can I put more in? Blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to go back to your question number one, and I'm going to give you number 3 book on my list that I give away the most, and that is Profit First. Until you learn the principles of taking profit first in your business, you will never be prepared for the downturns in your business.
Now, I happen to run Profit First in my business. I am a big fan of Profit First. So I can already hear them. Those people out there listening saying, well, it's a new business. I'm just starting out, or man, times are tough. There is no profit. What do you say to those people?
You're an idiot. No, I'm sorry. I don't know me. I'm joking. So let me be honestly, and I hear people say that, right? My son is 18 years old. He has his first business, and guess what? He takes profit first. What has that allowed him to do at 18 years old? So he started his business when he was 16. What has that allowed him to do? It has allowed him at 18 years old to realize he needs to pivot. And just think about that for a moment. He's 18. He has enough money saved from his profit first that he's put aside. He has enough put aside that he was able to take his team for a number of months and do R&D and still pay them all to do R&D in this new area so that they can launch a new service. If he wasn't taking profit first, he would have died. The business would have closed. That's the position you're in. If an 18-year-old can do it, you can do it. Now, I understand where you are because I've been there too. When I first read Profit First, I think it was either 2012 or 2014. My wife and I had a different business then, and I read it, and I didn't finish the book because I said, this is hogwash. There's no way I can do this. It's impossible in this business. We're behind every month. I can't do this now. I was wrong. And you were wrong too.
It's eye-opening when you start looking at it through that lens. We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for a public service announcement. We're going to get right back into this show, but I wanted to ask you a question. If you have been listening to the show for any amount of time and you've picked up even one single tip, then I need your help. Get the word out. Tell people about resultsleader.fm. Share it on social media. Share it on your email. Share it anywhere. #ResultsLeaderFM. Now let's jump back into the interview. Why do results matter?
Because you have to know what you're attempting to do. It's kind of like this. If you're playing a football game, if you're a sports fan, whether it's American football or non-American football, soccer, whatever it is, or if you're playing basketball, if all you do is run up and down the court and you never put the ball in the hoop, or you never cross the end line, or you never score the goal, what was the point? What was the result? Results matter because we have a goal to hit. And we've got to hit that because it changes the lives of people when we hit our goals.
Think back over the last 5 years, what new realization has helped you get better results for your clients?
Give before you get. Give before you get. For a decade and a half or so, I lived in the give as little information so that they realized they needed you, but they couldn't figure out what you did enough to do it themselves, and then charge them a bunch of money and everybody will be happy. And it created contentious relationships. It created situations where people didn't understand what you did. They didn't understand why it was valuable. They didn't understand a whole lot. And it was just contentious with clients. But in this model of give before you get, in this model of teaching, we now literally share everything that we do with our clients. How we do it, why we do it, how it works, because it gives them an appreciation of what we do, because they can't do it themselves. And even if they could, they're not going to. And that's why they're willing to pay us, because they know there's so much value in what we are doing for them.
Let's go back to that person who thinks profit first is hogwash, taking profit first. And when we think about that person is likely in a scarcity mindset. So how do you help them break out of that? Because being in that scarcity mindset, it's hard to fathom the idea of giving before you get.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I can understand that. I can admit that, and I can see that. And Mike Michalowicz in the book, and it's hysterical because when I reread the book a few years ago and decided we're going to do profit first and implement profit first, I had to ask myself, why didn't I hear this before? And a lot of that had to do with the scarcity mindset, because there's something that he says in that book that is so profound. And I've actually helped several, not just business owners, but even business owners and people just in their personal lives with this over the last couple of years. It's start small. So yeah, it'd be ideal to take a 20% profit cut right now. That would be ideal. But the reality is you can't. Your business is upside down and you're in the tank. You can't. I know it, you know it. And that's why you have the scarcity mindset. But Mike in the book says, it's okay. Start with 1%. Because I guarantee you, you're not going to miss 1%. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to miss it. So if you start with 1% and you build that discipline, it becomes so much easier. And what becomes so much easier is the question that people always ask. And this is the thing that I tell people, and they say, nah, that's not true until they try it. And so I challenge you, if you're listening to us, 1, read the book, 2, try it, is this. Since we've implemented profit first and started taking 1%, now that's grown all the way up to 20%, right? We followed the plan in the book. Since we've done that, we've actually had more money left over every single month than we've ever had. Before, we were always skating at the end of the month like, are we going to make it? We don't have that anymore. It's funny how that works. I don't know the science behind it, but it works, and it works every single time. So you want to get out of the scarcity. If you truly want to get out of where you are with the scarcity mindset, it starts small, 1%. 1% profit. That's all you've got to do. Start there.
It's incredible how he lays that out in the book. And what I found in when we implemented it was that it becomes addictive. You're looking forward to that quarter, pulling out that money on the 10th and the 25th. And then the next quarter comes and you can't wait to ramp up the profit and the other accounts. And it becomes kind of a game and an addiction. And when you start seeing the results, it's hard to fathom how you worked any other way. So I'm with you, man. Get on the bandwagon.
Get on the bandwagon. Absolutely. Get on the bandwagon. And, it's funny that you said that in that way. And so I'm going to echo, and I'm going to take that to another level, right? Because I had the cause to take a look at our external accounts, the ones you're not supposed to look at very often. And I was appalled by the amount of money in there. I thought it was one number and it was double that. And it was just like, how did that happen?
Magic.
And that's what your future is if you actually listen to the two of us and go read that book and actually start at 1%.
Man, what area of your business would you like better results?
I think I'd be a fool if I didn't say sales. Like, and sales is always, right? A place where we can always use better results.
How so? Like in sales process and conversion and volume?
Marketing is my thing, right? Content, marketing, and systems are my thing. So from that perspective, sales in terms of conversion become the issue is the wrong word, but the sticking point, right? Like, we know how to fill a funnel, but let's move people all the way through it.
I got some tips for you after we get off this call, because I'm disappointed in your funnel. You're not sending me enough email, man. I know that for sure. You're leaving money on the table.
That is true. I'm not going to deny that.
What results are you most proud of?
My staff, for sure. 100%, 1000%. And this is a result that we measure, right? And earlier when we talked about results, and I said, when you hit your goals, it affects so many people. One of those groups of people is your staff. One of the things that we've done over the last few years, well, number one, we've always been a virtual first company. It had some hybrid. And then, of course, the pandemic hit and everything just went virtual. And our virtual for a very long time was United States and Canada. The pandemic allowed us to go global. In the process of going global, I, in particular, fell in love with the Filipino culture. In the process of going global, I met a group of people in the Filipino culture that value-wise meet me very close to who I am. And I realized in that process that there was so much that I had that I could offer to them. And what do I mean by that? Well, we changed one of the visionary statements for the company into really a statement of saying, we're going to change the generational lives of 100 Filipino families. We're going to change the generational lives of 100 Filipino families. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is a young lady on my team right now who she's been with me for a while. The wages that we're paying her are, I think, 4 times what she was making before she started with us. And so much so that she was able to send her brother to college. He's going to school to become a doctor. That's changing the generational life of that family. We're doing things now where for our employees who have children, on the children's birthday, we're putting money into a fund for their college. Doing things that are going to change the generational lives of people. That's what I'm the proudest of.
Incredible. Any parting thoughts you want to share with the results leaders who are listening to us right now?
The journey that you're on can feel overwhelming. I know. My journey feels overwhelming. But the key isn't to feel overwhelmed by the journey, but it's to realize that today, my job is to figure out one thing. One thing. That's another book, by the way. The One Thing. Another one of my favorites. That's number 2 on the list. So you've now gotten all 3, the top 3. The one thing that you can do today that's going to get you closer to your goal, and make sure you do it. Not 50, not 5, not even 3. What is the one thing that you must get done today? You commit to doing that, and I guarantee you in a year, you would be amazed at the progress that you have made.
Now, I know our listeners are going to want more from you. Where can they get it?
Best place to find me is meetatiba.com. That's meet, A-T-I, B as in boy, A, my first name, .com. Meetatiba.com. That will take you directly to my LinkedIn. When you get there, there is a button that says More. Click the More button and come down to the option for Connect. I want you to connect with me. That will let you send me a message. Send me a message. Let's talk person to person, one-on-one.
Excellent. We will have links in the show notes as well. Thank you, Atiba, for hanging out with us. Thank you, results leaders, for tuning in. Another episode is in the can. That is a wrap for another edition of resultsleader.fm. If you are out there getting results for your clients, and you want to be featured on the show, go to resultsleader.fm now and apply to be on the show. And if you love what you're hearing, share the show, give us a rating and review, do anything to help us get the message out there. Thought leadership is easy, but results leadership is hard. We'll catch you on the next one.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.